Hello and welcome to the Honeycast. Today I'm talking about one of my favorite tools that I've learned along the way, and it's called allowing urges. Who struggles with off-plan eating or wanting junky food or giving in to the bag of Oreos or tortilla chips or social pressure from friends eating out? Who struggles with that? I think a lot of us do, some of us more than others. And I know for me, I would have to say I have overcome a very a very strong sugar addiction in my past, and the way that I did that is what I'm getting ready to teach you now. Back then, I didn't realize what I was doing until I actually was overcoming. And then I stumbled upon the life coaching school and learned a lot about urges and cravings. And then I started studying it. So, what I want to bring you today is a tool for your tool belt. When we are craving or we have urges for foods that may not be the best for us, we are actually having a physiological response in our brain that normally is caused by your brain wanting a dopamine hit. The dopamine is that feeling that you get when you eat that highly processed sugar, or you have that drink of alcohol, or you eat something that is very concentrated, like white flour, white sugar. It is very concentrated and it gives you a very big dopamine hit as opposed to a natural dopamine hit. There are things that cause us to have a natural dopamine hit, such as eating fruit, going for a walk outside, giving a hug to somebody, thinking of a loved one or a pet. All of those give us a dopamine hit, but they don't give us as big of a dopamine hit as those off-plan, very concentrated foods. And so just know that there's nothing wrong with you. Of course your brain wants that. Why wouldn't your brain want something like that, right? The key is to realize that your thoughts are actually a part of the problem. That's the good news, because guess what? You can change your thoughts. You can choose what you're going to think. Believe it or not, you don't have to think everything that drops into your head. And especially if you can become aware of your thinking and your thoughts, you can trace that to your feeling, your action, and then eventually your result. So I want to talk about a craving and an urge, and I want to let you know that those cravings and urges cannot hurt you. They feel very strong. I've had them before. They cannot hurt you. They are just a feeling. It's just a feeling, and it's caused by a thought. Now, your thoughts can vary, but some thoughts that cause cravings and urges are some like these. I really want that donut. I deserve to have that hamburger and french fries and shake. I need this. I really like having something sweet after every meal. Those kind of thoughts are going to create what's called desire. Anytime we're saying, I want, I need, I don't care. Have you ever thought that? Like, I don't care. I'm just going to eat it. Those thoughts are causing you to feel a certain way, which is usually called desire or over desire. And when we have that over desire, and that's really that dopamine hit we're seeking out, without that being interrupted, then we're just going to go ahead and act on it and tell ourselves lots of excuses. The result that we create from that is that you've just done something or eaten something or made a decision that you really didn't want to. And then you feel bad. You physically feel bad. You feel regret. You feel weak. You feel like something's wrong with you. You feel out of control. And when we can learn to allow urges to be there without them being answered, the urges and the cravings actually become less. And this is a practice. Let me tell you, this took me about 6 months of doing this mindset work, specifically with sugar and sweets, to be able to now, I don't even crave any of that anymore. Occasionally, I might have a little hunkering for something sweet, but you know what? I can have one bite or no bites. I can have healthy. I can have a pie sitting in front of me and it does not call my name. And I don't know that everyone will get there. I know that is the way it is for me. Some people might always struggle a little bit with that. But what we want to do is I want to teach you how to allow an urge. So first of all, urges and cravings last for usually about 20 minutes, unless you keep thinking about it continually. But they usually last for about 20 minutes. So if you can allow that urge like a wave in the ocean coming in and then it goes out, and you allow it and we don't answer it, then you are wiring out that urge. And then you've just been able to make a better decision for yourself. Some things that you don't want to do with urges are this: you don't want to suppress it or tell yourself, no, don't eat this. That creates resistance and we end up giving in. How many of you have done that? You're like, I'm not eating this today. I'm not eating this today. I'm not eating this today. And what do you do? You eat that. So the brain doesn't see that negative. It doesn't see the no or the don't. It just sees eating this, whatever you're focusing on, that's what it sees. So we don't want to resist it. So you're like, well, how do I not resist it? So we don't tell ourselves don't or no. The second way we can deal with urges is we can give into it. Well, that's not that great either, is it? We just go with the flow, and then we're ending up doing some things that may not serve us. The third answer here that I'm going to teach you about is allow it. So what I want you to do is when you have an urge or a craving, I want you to investigate it. I want you to become a detective. I want you to become curious. What am I thinking? Awareness is number one, becoming aware of your thought. I want that cookie so bad because I love cookies. I don't like this healthy dessert. I like the non-healthy dessert. Whatever it is that you're thinking, I deserve this. Just this once. I'll start Monday. All these things are really setting us up to answer that urge. So you really just want to watch what your brain is telling you. And here's what I do. I watch that thought come in and I go, you know what? This is just a thought and a craving is just a feeling, and I can handle this feeling. Where am I feeling this feeling right now? Where is it? Is it in my mouth? Is it in my throat? Is it in my stomach? I sit with it. I allow that urge just to be there. And I tell myself it's going to be just fine. This is just a feeling and it's going to end in about 20 minutes. And so allowing an urge can be uncomfortable. And that's the only thing that you have to be willing to endure is a little bit of uncomfortableness. But think about how uncomfortable you are when you give into an urge and a craving. You compound the effect of the regret and the remorse and the results. So remember, this isn't an easy thing to start doing right off the bat. It took me a lot of failed attempts to actually get one win. And when I got one win, that one time that I allowed an urge, I felt strengthened. I felt empowered. I felt like, okay, I can do that again. Another thing that can help you allow an urge is to play it forward. What are you going to feel after you do the deed, whatever it is? How are you going to feel? How is this going to affect you? Playing it forward is very important, and it can be very anchoring in a moment when you are really dealing with a temptation, an urge or a craving. So those are a few ways that you can learn to allow the urges and cravings. And I just want to encourage you that the more that you practice this, the easier it gets and the more wins that you stack up. And the other thing that's helpful as well, while you're doing the mindset, is not to go into deprivation mode and not give yourself anything, but can you substitute it with something that's healthy? Can you give yourself something that's not really giving you that dopamine hit, but yet you're not feeling unsatisfied or like you need something? So there's a practical part of this. The last thing I'll say is when you're allowing an urge and you're trying to change that pattern of giving in, another tactic is to distract yourself. all of these together work really well. Sometimes you can take one of those and it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But sometimes when we distract ourselves, you forget about the urge, and then the urge has passed. And guess what? Then you feel amazing, and then you don't want that again. So, some distraction, some things to distract yourself could be, I like to journal. I sit down and journal my thoughts. That's distracting for me. The other thing, go for a walk, get active. I also would get on my treadmill, and that's another way of using physical activity. Get on your rebounder, go for a walk, do the nitric oxide workout, do something physical. And or you can call a friend or whatever it is that you like to do to just get your brain out of being focused on the craving and the urge. So hopefully some of these tactics will ring a bell and you'll start utilizing one or two, and you'll start seeing more success in your life when it comes to urges, temptations, and cravings.